My name is Ann Fisher, and a bit over 30 years ago, I was right at this very place calling out the names of the class of 1992 as they received their diplomas. And when I got to Meredith Chiles, I thought, watch out world, here comes the most determined girl ever. Indeed, she was. I taught here for 25 years, the last 10 of which I was dean of the upper school, the job that Dr. Rogers holds now. So that means classes were about 40 girls then. I graduated and connected with over 1,000 students. And Meredith stands out as the most determined. In fact, the yearbook, Caroline, of 92, has on the back a special page that says, special recognition has to go to Meredith Chiles, our most active salesperson, who sold $1,600 in ads. And that's when $1,600 was a way lot more money than it is now. I remember Meredith as tall and thin, and she had Botticelli Venus hair. If you don't know what that is, ask your art history teacher. She played for 5 years on the St. Mary's tennis team. In the 8th grade, she played up on the varsity team and actually won the state doubles tournament as an 8th grader. Actually, the St. Mary's tennis team won the state tournament every single year for 5 straight years in a row. The tourney was in Nashville, and they had formidable opponents, GPS, Harpeth Hall, Baylor. I remember going and sitting and watching Meredith play and win the state tournament. She was recruited to Vanderbilt, where she played #1 singles in Vandy's Division I NCAA tennis team. When she got there, they were 72nd in the nation, and her senior year, they were ranked #8 in the nation. So she did her part for Vanderbilt, where she graduated with honors. I'll let Meredith tell you about her career following Vanderbilt, but I do want to tell you that recently she has become an endurance athlete. Since not so recently, really, 2008. She's competed in dozens of long distance and multi-sport races from Boston to Brazil and Hawaii to France. She's set records as an ultra triathlete, an ultra cyclist, and an ultra runner. If you don't know what that is, let me tell you. She competed in the Death Valley Badwater 135 ultra marathon. That means she ran 135 miles without stopping. Get that. She also rode her bike in the Furnace Creek 508 bicycle race, which means she rode her bike 508 miles. So I'm just tired thinking about all that. So I want to introduce to you, here from Charlotte, North Carolina, your alum, Meredith Chiles, whose stuff I just got from the I dropped her stuff.
Oh, it's okay. I need to be getting it out here. Okay, I've got a timer because, dude, I can talk. Okay, so here we go. Thank you so much for having me. I'm Meredith, now Meredith Chiles Dolhare, but I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I remember sitting here in these seats like it was yesterday. Actually, there was a speaker that we had when I think I was probably only a sophomore, and she inspired me so much that I was like, I'm gonna be her. I'm gonna go work for Turner Broadcasting, and I'm gonna, she was incredible, and I did. So I did it, I was like, this is what I'm gonna do, and because she was just so inspiring, and she actually, any of you hear something that inspires you a lot and you wanna reach out to me, I'll say that on the front end, please let me know, because I actually did reach out to her and she ended up helping me. So the very first thing, what I'm gonna talk to you guys about is I'm gonna give you the top 12 things I wish I knew when I was sitting there. Because first one, I thought I knew everything. I mean, I did. I thought I had it all figured out. I knew exactly what I was gonna do, who I was, and I really thought I knew everything. And so I wasn't teachable in some ways. I would just be like, yeah, whatever. So that's something that sitting here, I hope you really, take to heart, that there's always something to learn. And I heard someone who was an expert, in my opinion, say, it was the basketball coach for Duke. He said, there are no experts on anything. There's always room to learn. If you hear someone say they're an expert, run. And I loved that. And I really try and take that to heart, because there's things, that I could be like, oh, well, I'm really good at this. But, that's all ego. So humility is teachability. And there is no humility without empathy, which is a huge lesson to learn. And I had to learn that. Number 2, when I am weak, I am strong. Vulnerability is not weakness, it's strength. It is 100% strength. If you are able to bare your soul and open your heart and tell your story, it not only helps others, it helps you. And let me tell you, I have a story, and some of it is, it's not great. I've been through a lot. But I'm willing to share that with people and really open up, and that has helped me a lot. But sometimes you'll find, that people they don't want to show their underbelly, and asking for help is actually, this took me a long time. This was one that took me a long time to learn. Asking for help is huge. If you can ask for help, then you're also showing humility. Number 3, I am never a victim. I'm not even a survivor. I'm a thriver. So whatever happens to me, I know I can pick myself up, brush myself off, share it with someone, like I just said in number 2, because life happens. And guess what? Then it happens again. And then it happens again. So really being able to adapt to life with its trials and tribulations have made me who I am. Because, I'm not getting any younger. And at 51 years old, there's things all through life that happen, and they'll slap you every 5 seconds. But if you're able to adapt and change, it's a huge asset. And you have to have the courage to do it, to reinvent yourself. Reinventing yourself is a big one. Number 4, surrounded by the right people, those who believe in my dreams and vision, I can accomplish anything. So you heard that I do some crazy stuff. 508 miles on the bike, 135-mile runs. I've done 5 of those actually in different places, Brazil, Badwater. Part of why I'm able to do that is I've surrounded myself with people that believe in me. Because imagine starting a 135-mile race, and you've got someone sitting there going, this is stupid. What are you doing this for? You can't do this. No one can run that far in 129 degrees. You need someone that's going to go, okay, you want to do that? Great, I'll support you. What do you need? So if you have someone in your life that's constantly, I hate to say, poo-pooing what you want to do in life, because no dream is too big. I ran that 135 miles 9 months after having spinal reconstruction, which, yeah, it's a little crazy, I know. But that was what I was like, because my doctor, every other doctor told me I was never going to run again. And this doctor said, you know what? If you want to run again, let's make it happen. So I was like, you're my doctor. And I was running, I ran a 135-mile race, a 126-mile race, and another 135, all within 9 months of having my surgery. Because he believed in me, and he made sure I was okay. And I'm not recommending that. just as a caveat, I am not recommending that. But I also think, my mom always believed in me. It was like, if I had whatever crazy idea it was, even my science projects were always off the rails. Teratological effects of retinoids on chicken embryos. My mom was like, okay, and I ended up winning the state science fair with that. But my point is, surround yourself with good people. Surround yourself with people who actually believe in your dreams, whatever they are, and no matter how crazy they sound. Okay, number 5. Oh, I love this one. I heard this once and I was like, that's so true. So 5, 6, and 7 go together. So I'm going to do them and then I'm going to talk about, where this took me. The only people capable of changing the world are the ones crazy enough to try. I'm going to say that again because it's a big one. The only people capable of changing the world are the ones crazy enough to try. Because sometimes these ideas we have, like I had an idea for a nonprofit, people thought I was absolutely nuts, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but I made it happen. And it was amazing and the most rewarding thing I've ever done. But I'll bring you to, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Or if I don't stand for something, I will fall for anything. And when I was racing all these races, I realized that, because it was drawing attention, I had an article in a Sports Illustrated article, a Runner's World article, like all this crazy stuff was happening. And I was like, I have to give back. I have to, because number 6, to whom much is given, much is expected. And I was thinking, okay, this is, I'm racing all over the world. It's kind of a selfish pursuit. I'm training all the time. Sometimes I'm having 12-hour training days. I got to do something for somebody else because I feel like I'm really, this is becoming, I'm getting a little too absorbed in it. So I really believe this, in number 6, to whom much is given, much is expected. I'm sure you've all heard that. It's biblical. And I just think everyone has a piece they need to give back. They just have to find their niche. And I don't think, that I realized how blessed I was until much later in life, and especially when I was doing all this racing. And the reason I was like, hey, I need to start doing something for somebody else right now because I can get attention for whatever cause I choose. So always remember that. If you're doing something that's garnering attention, you can also focus that into a cause because you'll get attention from the media, on social media, from magazines. I mean, I did dozens of articles, and it really helped the nonprofit that I started because it helped us grow and helped us raise money. So 7, probably the biggest one here because I had a really hard time with this. Know when to stop. Know when something is not serving you and remove it from the equation. And sometimes my ego got wrapped up in it, and I felt like, well, if I do that, then I'm quitting, but I can't give away something I don't have. So it got to the point, this is where I'm gonna start talking about my nonprofit a bit. It got to the point with my nonprofit, which was called Running Works, where 12 years into it, so I founded it in 2012, and 12 years into it, things just started going a little haywire. We served thousands of people. What I did, I ran with them. So I ran with homeless people, homeless men, women, and children, and helped them find employment and housing. We housed, 350 people in Charlotte. We served 4,000 people, and I had 20 homeless people off the street finish full marathons. Think about that. So I would train with them on the weekends and then go feed them, so to make sure they had a good meal after. And so one of the things with running is they would finish the race and they would go, oh my God, I can't believe I just did that. If I can do this, I can get a job, I can get housing, I can be a better person, I can stop drinking, I can, because some of them were actually even still drinking at the time. So it's just, running was a way that we had life skills and everything. So I would talk about anger management and, really try and help them in that regard. And it wasn't a running club for homeless people because it really grew into something huge. But then it got to the point where post-COVID, it just became really difficult to raise money. I was struggling mentally. And, I had to make a decision. Is this still something that is working for me? Because I was doing all the fundraising too. I had to raise, $500,000 a year. And it was tough. So I had the courage to stop it. And that's one I want you guys to really think about because it's not a bad thing. I didn't quit. I kind of saved myself. Number 8, perfectionism is the worst form of self-abuse. Everybody in this room knows what I'm talking about because at St. Mary's, we're perfectionists. We want it done, we want it right, we want to do it well. But really, if you give yourself some grace and allow yourself to make mistakes, then you realize that success and struggle are byproducts of the same process. And struggle actually creates character. just getting everything the way you want it, that's not really, it's not really doing anything. But when you struggle, you learn more than if you just succeed all the time. So I love that one. Number 10, expectations are premeditated resentments. So I'm a person that, because I am a horrible perfectionist that I'm trying to break, I always have really high expectations of people. And, I had a friend tell me, Meredith, you have really high expectations of your friends. And I was like, do I? So it's a self-awareness thing that I realized finally that these expectations are causing me, like, if someone doesn't do what I want, or someone doesn't, fall right into line, or things don't happen the way I want them, then I have a resentment, and it's all on me. It's my fault. The expectation shouldn't have been there to begin with. I don't have control over other people. So that was a big one. I used to be really bad about that. So 11. Ooh, I'm doing good on time. This I want all of you to hear me on this. I check in regularly with my core values to make sure that they're still upholding the framework of my character. I try and choose 5. There's a list. If you Google list of values, there's a thing that gives you 100 values, and I choose 5. And my core values are altruism, gratitude, empathy, perseverance, and discipline. And I check in with those to make sure I'm still living the way I should be living. And it kind of simplifies it, kind of dumbs it down. So I really recommend that to you guys, even especially at your age, and they will change because at every age in here, each year they're probably going to evolve a little bit, but that's a good thing to do. And this one is big. When I was at St. Mary's, I don't think I realized what I had. This education you guys are getting is something out of this world. I ended up going to Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt's not easy. I was helping other kids. This school is absolutely amazing, and please take advantage of it. But also, know where you are. Have the gratitude for it. I feel like I missed the boat on that until much, much later. So gratitude is number 12. And I feel that I've learned the hard lesson that if I'm not grateful for what I've been given, I won't be grateful for what I have. So I wanted to end with a gratitude. It's Melanie Beatty. It's a quote. Gratitude turns what I have into enough. It turns denial into acceptance, chaos into order, confusion into clarity. Gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates vision for tomorrow. Thank you very much for having me.